Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing. Hey, welcome. So today, last week, let's just do this really quick. Hey, it's almost Black Friday. So here's your reminder. It's just being a friend here. Hey, by the way, you might want to do something about your Black Friday. Now, I know some of you who are live for your Black Friday have already been taking serious advantage of this. And I have lots of episodes that cover just the real basic, the 1-2 steps of how to run just the best version of your Black Friday. And I don't think it needs to be something that kills you. I mean, hopefully it does because you're fulfilling so many orders. But as far as promotion goes, if you have my email course, there's some Black Friday stuff in there for you that you can use in there if you listen to past podcasts. It's just that you do pre-launch, you tease things, and then you launch and extend and then close. And so it's a pretty easy thing to do. It's just, I know the feeling because I feel it too. It's kind of like everyone's doing it. And I'm just going to feel like I'm kind of just jumping the thing. But I as a person who works with brands, as a person who's had brands, it's like, I have to tell you this, people's wallets are open on Black Friday and they kind of sit on their wallets for Black Friday. An example of this, my birthday is November 1st. And one of my clients that I work for got me $200 to the NBA store. I like the Lakers a lot. And that was kind of them to do that. I have not spent a dime of it. Do you know why? Because I'm waiting for Black Friday, baby. So there are people who are, I want to do these things. I want to have this. I want to get purchases. I want to buy this for Christmas. This is something I've had my eye on. But I'm kind of waiting for Black Friday. And if you're a shop owner long enough, people have already messaged you and been like, hey, are you doing anything for Black Friday? And people kind of wait and coil for Black Friday. And so don't lose that advantage that you can have. So I know some of you may be thinking, well, I don't have anyone to say it to. Like I could just make my store Black Friday, but I don't have anyone to say it to. And if that's the case you're in, then you need to commit that you don't run into this problem next year. So you're right. If you don't have a social media following or an email list or anything along the lines of that, you don't have anyone to you can put it on your shop. But yeah, there's going to be a boost of traffic on Etsy that's coming on Black Friday. But you're not going to be able to drive much to you. And so this is the time where you can kind of dedicate yourself to say, all right, so next year, what can I be doing in the background that can next year change this outcome for me? And the thing that I think is by far the easiest is the email course that I have. You get that thing in there, you plug it in. First of all, there's Black Friday templates in the thing. So you could be running Black Friday templates from the templates that are currently in that thing. But what its main purpose is that it's going to make it so that you're collecting emails as this year goes by. And so if you're actively trying to grow your Etsy shop and you are actively collecting emails in the process, the idea is 1 year from today, you will be in a different position and be able to really take advantage of Black Friday. And maybe it's a small boost this next year, but the next year it just gets bigger and it just gets bigger and it just gets bigger. So, this is a call to action to, hey, whether you want to go back and listen to I have some podcast episodes that go about launching and all that kind of stuff. You can go through those. You can get the email course, whatever it may be. I'd hold on to that. Let's just do this. My email course is on my website right now. Black Friday, I'll put it on discount for you. How's that sound? So if you're listening to this, Black Friday, next Friday, when the podcast drops, I'll have some stuff for you. You guys can just run over there and grab that stuff. Okay. And then next year you'll be set. So, a good just kind of story on this is that I met with someone this week who has hundreds of thousands of sales. And we were really, when I meet with stores like this, I had actually a really interesting meeting. Kind of go off tangent here for a second, but I met with someone who is a step above me. So I'm a growth marketer. I work with that kind of like people making about $1 million from their software. Our team helps them get to that 5 mark. It's kind of what our niche is. It's what we do. And then there's the, now I want to get to 50 and 100 million type people. And so I met with someone who's more in that like 50, 100 million. And we had a 30-minute meeting together of just being able to go, and I was able to ask him questions and whatever it may be. Now, these are all really technical ad spend type stuff that was taking place. But there was one thing that he said that I thought was pretty interesting. So this isn't anything earth shattering. So I hope you didn't run and grab a piece of paper or something like this. But it was just one of those things, the way he said it, I just kind of said like, thank you. Because it's like, it solidifies what I already know and it stamps it. So the conversation was revolving around that our CPA would scale when we scaled our ads, which is very common. The more money you spend, the more the costs are going to go up a little bit more because you're broadening your audience. And so as you broaden your audience, there's people who are most likely to take advantage of offers, and then there's people who are less likely. But they're all likely to take options. It's just that they're on a different scale. So as you start to bring in people who are less likely and start to convert those people will probably cost more because you have to kiss more frogs to find the ones that are going to buy onto your messaging. So as we scale accounts, the CPA of what we're paying or the cost per customer that we're paying will go up. Okay. So if our ad account is right at that, like let's just say they're willing to spend $100 a customer and we are at $99 a customer. When we go to scale that, because they're like, great, give us 100 more of these customers a day and we'll be happy. And we go, yeah, great. And then we go to scale it and that customer now costs $130. Well, they go, whoa. We can't do that anymore. We can't do 130. And so that's the reason I was having this conversation. I was like, hey, if we try to expand this, we get into that more broad range, which then increases the CPA and it hurts us. And so just from you as a person who's, doing this at a much larger scale than me, what are some of your techniques? And so we were talking to the logistics of that. But one of the sentences he said that I thought was really great is he said, Jared, I've learned this, we do this. He said, there's two ways to grow a business. You either go deep or you go broad. He said, that's it. Those are it. You go deep or you go broad. And you've heard me teach these principles before. I call it horizontal and vertical scaling. So horizontal means we have a listing that's doing really well. How do we bring the most value to that listing? If we're selling nursery signs, how do we pump in different sizes, different colors, different things to this listing to make it so that a customer, instead of paying $25, we can have a $45 option. And now, they're roughly landing at that $33 per customer. We've increased that average order value. And now we're at a spot where, hey, we are making more money because we've gone a bit deeper in what we're doing. And this horizontal process is where a lot of Etsy shops, and when I meet with a lot of Etsy shops, they're good at. A lot of people see this opportunity and they take advantage of this opportunity. Where people mess up or miss the boat is in the broadening side of what they're doing. I actually met with someone this week who has hundreds of thousands of sales. And they have done a fantastic job with their niche and have just been doing really well with it. And we actually had a great conversation because they were in a similar position. Those of you who listen to the podcast, you know that I had an Etsy shop. I had an Etsy shop for 5 years. And I built it to a brand. It was in magazines. I had a lot of Instagram followers and I had influencers that were wearing my stuff. It was kind of during the time of influencer marketing. And so, what was that girl's name? I don't know if you guys knew who Amber Filler Up is. She had my product and she never freaking posted it. Oh, gosh. She was like, hey, I love your product. You want to send it to me? Sure. Send it to her. Boom. There was another one. Rachel Parzel, is that her name? Another one that hosed me over, like asked for my product. Like I didn't even ask for it. I sent it to them and yeah, nothing. Yeah, it was perfect. That Rachel Parzel girl was like this freaking shit, lived in like the White House. Like her house was like the most white house you'll ever see in your life. I'm literally mean White House. And the ceilings were like 900 feet tall and everything was white. And she just wore these pastel, really light colors, of everything. I sent her I hand selected her fabric. Like we went and we got it and we made this thing that was perfect for her and we sent it to her. And I was like, that will look good in any picture that girl takes. And lo and behold, she stood me up. Both of them stood me up. I worked on Amber Filler Up for a while and I caught her before she was as big as, I don't even know if she's around anymore. Thank goodness I'm not in that market anymore. That was probably the worst part of being involved in that influencer marketing was talking to those folks. But anyway, no offense if you're an influencer. So why on earth did I go down that rabbit hole? I talked to influencers, get my stuff going. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Okay. I had to go back and literally listen to it because I was like, man, I have no idea what I was talking about. But I was talking about just my business and what I was doing and where we were at. And we were a successful business. And I don't know if I've ever shared this on the podcast. I have an NDA, which is why, if you've ever wondered, Jared, why don't you go deep into this? I was bought by someone who, I can say this, their brand went on Shark Tank. And they bought, I don't know if I can say that. Oh, well. Don't tell anyone. Their brand went on Shark Tank, and those were the people that were interested in what we were doing. So anyway, if you say to me, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but I had this conversation with someone today or this week. They are making good money doing what they do, and they're in a good little niche. And they were just mentioning, yeah, it feels like our niche is just becoming a little bit more saturated, And we went on Amazon and we saw that some of our products were on Amazon. We didn't even know they were. Like, someone had kyped their products more or less, put it on Amazon. China is usually the one that's doing that. And my heart sank because it was exactly that was the battle I had to battle when I got big, was that I had everyone ripping me off. And I had people on Amazon selling my product with my pictures. And I would spend hours a week flagging these people trying to sell my product. And they would just go down and create another one and go down and create another one. These guys who I was meeting with the other day, they said, like, our competitors have like multiple stores selling different listings of what we are pretty much selling, so that like they're on the front page 3 times, type thing. And now, wait. Before you hear me say that and say to yourself, wait a second, Jared, that's a great idea. It's not a great idea. The only way it's going to work is if the keyword is booming without a lot of competition. That's the only way it's going to work. Or you are capped, meaning like, so there is, oh gosh, I'm going to do something that scares everybody. Trust me, this is not you. But Etsy does to agree, and there's been some underground whisperings of this for a while, but keep in mind the user experience is really important to them. And so if you start to get a lot of sales, like you're in a blue ocean and you are just getting pummeled with sales, there is, and people start to kind of trickle in and like, oh, I'll dab in this type thing. Sometimes those people who are just kind of dabbing in it can get put ahead of you, and you go, what the heck? And the reason for it, I don't want to scare anyone, but there is like this capping that can take place, which is essentially like Etsy's like, all right, you have enough sales. Like, we're going to kind of spread the wealth here. But it isn't because they're like, oh, because we love everybody. It's because they're worried that you're not going to fulfill orders. And so they kind of say, let's spread the wealth a little bit here and just not get totally pigeonholed. It protects them a lot, because like if all of a sudden you deactivate the listing because you got overwhelmed, or you have to go into vacation mode, or you move your shipping things up, or you start to jack up the price because you're trying to slow things, all that kind of stuff. It's like they don't want that. They want to avoid that. So they have kind of just in protocol, I guess a good way to say it, is just a way that kind of just starts to push stuff off if they claim that you're kind of overwhelmed in what you're doing. Now, I know all of you are probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's happened to me before. Oh my gosh, one time I was cruising, all of a sudden it all went dry. No, this is like if you're doing a lot of sales. And like I said, it has to be a really non-competitive keyword that this kind of stuff would happen. Because when there's competition in there, there's always there's natural selection taking place. If there's not a lot of competition and there's you've just found a gold mine of a keyword, which this store that I was meeting with, when I went through their store, I said, oh, that is a keyword I have not seen before, but I bet there's a big demand. And lo and behold, there was a big demand. So please don't be afraid or go like, oh my gosh, I'm going to create 3 stores and reproduce my stuff and all this kind of stuff. It is a black hat trick used usually by people this is what they do. They're drop shippers. They're China. They're people who just kype and try to make as much money as fast as they can and are not concerned about getting shut down or anything like that. So noted. Okay. So while I was meeting with these people and we were kind of going back and forth with this strategy, they were in a similar position that I was in. Like I said, as they started to say, hey, I'm stuck, or not I'm stuck, but people are kind of coming for us, and we're seeing a bit of a downtrend, and our ads aren't spending as well as they once did, and all that stuff. Now, just so you're aware, this store had a 14% conversion rate. So like you have to, if you know this, it's like, oh my gosh, if you have a 14% conversion rate, the chances are you just don't have a lot of competition. And so there's a high demand. So high demand, low competition, high conversion rate. So I sat up in my chair and I said to this couple, run. Do not put your feet up. It was the mistake I made. It's the one thing I could have said. I did well. I did well with my stuff. I was able to buy into some property and life was good there. But I could have done better because this was my mistake. I went to Hawaii for a month. I put my feet up. I kind of just in my mind said, this is where I'm at. This is the kind of money I make. Life is good. And then what happened is I was used to working, a certain amount of hours a day and making a certain amount of money a day. And then pretty soon that money started to drop. So then I started working more hours, and pretty soon I was working more hours and making less money. And I thought, I was all the things I was learning to grow my business when I was having a lot more competition issues could have been monster for me had I done it when it was more blue. You guys know what I mean by blue ocean, right? Blue ocean, red ocean. Red ocean is like there's lots of battles and there's blood everywhere. Blue ocean means like you can sail without any issues. And so I remember being in my 5th year or whatever and thinking, my gosh, if I would have done or known what I had known in my 5th year, doing it in my 3rd year, I probably wouldn't be doing this in my 5th year. I'd probably have, I don't think my business would have lasted more than 5 years, no matter how hard I ran. Because quite frankly, the brand that, I can't say anything. Scratch that. So in this scenario, yes, I leaned forward in my chair and I said, put your feet down. They're on the table right now. Put them down. Run. Now, back to my little friend here that I talked to. They had mastered the deep. They had gone as deep as they could. Their store was deep in what they did. They grew a business going deep. Now, it's time to go broad. So these are ways that you can look at your store. So in this broad scenario, and again, to protect the store, I wish I would, but I got to protect the store. There was lots of opportunities. In fact, their product was extremely seasonal. And so I'm saying, look, you have something, move it into so that this thing can become more evergreen. And now what you're getting out of your XYZ months, you can now get out of your ABC months or your DYF A, B, C, D, E, F, D, E, F months or whatever it may be. That is going broad with when you're growing a business. And there was something, again, it's like you're Jared, this isn't rocket science. I'm fully aware of this. But there was something about it that just sunk with me. And so when you're reflecting on yourself and you're in growth mode, you can now kind of put it into 2 categories, because I had a very, very good growth marketer say to me, there's only 2 ways. Deep and broad. So you make a decision. Are you going deep with this audience? You going broad with your audiences. Those are the only 2 ways to go about this thing. So in your scenario, you going deep with your product, you going broad with your product. Now, you've heard me talk about this, and I actually, golly, could punch myself in the face. I made a YouTube video that was probably my best SEO video. Like, it is the things that I have learned the last couple years, really working with people's SEO, following up, being able to just really see the changes and whatnot. And so you guys know this, I have a formula, I kind of have my stuff, but then I've been polishing because things are different. There's things that take place and Etsy's always changing, all this kind of stuff. So I made a great little SEO video that I'm proud of. And it's edited, but not uploaded because making YouTube videos sucks. So that's if you're a true fan, you'll notice, hey Jared, you kind of released this podcast kind of late today. Yep, it's because I was making this freaking SEO video and hoping to have it in the description for you guys, but that is not the case. Okay, so now I actually want to jump into what I want to talk about here. Okay, so here's what I want, what I actually want to talk about, which has nothing to do with what we have been talking about. But to recap, hey, if you don't have an email list, go get an email list. Start now. Now's the time. Call to action. Go get it. Because another example of this is that store that I met with. They bought my email thing when it came out, which was like a year ago, I think. And was it a year ago? No way. It was this year. It came out. And they have 10,000 emails. You know, geez, guys, they've been open for 7 years or something like that. You got 10,000 emails in a year. You know, like we get more than that. So yeah, take advantage of what you could be collecting now. Okay. Broad or deep. When you're in growth mode, you can go broad, you can go deep. And those are the two ways to look. The only two ways. And I agree with that. There's two ways to grow. It's broad and deep. Okay. Ads. So you heard me say last week that I was going to make this SEO thing for to sell on Black Friday. And I have pivoted a bit because I am making a SEO thing, but it's just going to be in the program that I have. But ads, I sort of looked at ads and said, I'm hoping I have freaking time this week because it's Black Friday for not just me, but for the people I work for as well. So if I have time, hopefully I'll get it. You guys just join my Facebook group or get my emails or whatever it may be. I'll promote it if I get it. Maybe we'll do a late Black Friday. I hate to do it, but anyway, ads. So everyone should be running ads. Ooh, that's a broad statement. Not everyone, but 90% of Etsy stores should be running ads. And the more this is something I'm involved in and I do a lot of work in, and the more successful a shop has can sometimes correlate exactly to how much money they spend in ads or how long they've been running ads. And as I go through people's SEO and look at their keywords and whatnot, sometimes I'll catch it and I'll say, wait a second. These keywords are like, there's no way you're on the front page of some of these keywords and the position you're in. And then I go through their ads and I say, oh, it's your ads that have put you here. And then from there, you can calculate and see like, my gosh, the conversion rate from this and this. And anyway, when you run ads, it teaches Etsy what you sell, period. It is such a great tool to teach Etsy what it is. So there's two ways to run ads. One is I want to be as profitable as I can. That's version A, which is I just want to run ads. I want to be conservative. I want to really count my pennies. And I want to make sure that every penny that goes into Etsy, I have the highest ROI connected to that. I guess this would be ROAS, the highest ROAS connected to that. There's another way to run ads, which is my store is a successful store and I want to continue to grow. Now, hear me out on this, organically. What, Jared? How does paid ads work organically? Let me tell you. When you run ads, it teaches Etsy. It's the only data you'll ever see of keywords that are being shown. So not just clicked on. So if you're not running ads, you can see which keywords people click on to get to your listing. But you can't see what keywords you're being shown under, right? And so because you can't see what keywords are being shown under, sometimes your listings can be shown under wrong keywords. And then we've talked about the snowball effect of this. If you're being shown under, and it's some of the stuff, it's crazy that Etsy is doing it. I met with someone this week, a different person this week. Their second highest keyword was something they weren't selling. And I said to her, you sell this? She's like, no. You ever sell this? No. Why on earth is it showing up? It's the second highest keyword, the thing that's bringing in the second most traffic, and you don't even sell. Lo and behold, I go through ad account. There it is. She's paying for it. And people are clicking on it. So people are clicking on it. So what's happening with Etsy? Well, Etsy's like, oh, hey, we're getting more data on what she's selling. And they start, so she's paying per click to bring people into her shop who's then giving wrong data. And so the homework assignment I gave her, this is a unique one, is I said, I want you to run ads and I want you to we're not going to care about profitability because at this point, we're in a stage where Etsy's kind of taken a wrong turn on you. And we've seen the effects of this in her store because what her store ended up doing Is it like she would releasing new products and they're getting like 0, and they're right in her target audience? To be perfectly honest, it was a real noggin scratcher for me, because I was looking at her photos and I was like, these are above average. These are great. These are great attention grabbing. This is really great. And then we looked at her SEO and I was like, good enough. You should be getting something. Something should be getting here. So it wasn't until we started to peel the onion back that we got into this stage of like, well, what's this monster keyword you have that you don't actually sell? And she was like, well, I don't know. And then it was like, oh, your ad account has been feeding this keyword in, and it isn't what you sell. So now Etsy's taken this slight 1 degree off of what it is, and it doesn't know your target audience anymore. And so now you're releasing these new things and you're just a hodgepodge Walmart store, and it doesn't know what you're doing. She's like so niched in what she sells, so niched, but Etsy doesn't have a clue except for one product. So she has one product that's doing really well, and then everything else is just, I kept saying this to her. I kept saying, you're doing everything right. It's not your fault. You did everything right. There's just this 1 degree off. And so what she's currently doing right now is she's running ads and she's turning off every keyword instantly that isn't directly to what it is that she's selling. So we're kind of putting these niches into the ads. And then if it's like, goes a little bit more broad, if it goes a little sideways, if it's like, so for example, I'm just going to take something that's not her niche. So let's just say she sells beach towels. If someone searches for towels, I'm going to have her turn it off. You may be thinking, well, Jared, it's a towel. Why are you having her turn off the word towel? In this scenario, it's because we're not trying to be profitable. We're trying to teach Etsy what it is that she sells. So when someone searches for beach towel and it shows an impression there, we're going to leave that on. When someone searches for towel, turn off. When someone searches for beach, we're going to turn it off. We don't sell anything that's beach oriented. It's beach oriented. You know what I mean? We don't sell anything that's towel, like a kitchen towel, right? This isn't what this is. It is a beach towel. We're only going to leave on beach towel. And what's eventually going to happen to this listing is that Etsy's going to be like, well, we don't get enough impressions to spend your budget, so it's not going to spend her budget. So we're putting in listings that have all the similar vibe that what we're doing, and then we're turning off these words that are too broad with the full purpose of Etsy's going to see, oh my gosh, beach towel. It's beach towel. That's what this product is. That's what this category is. That's what this is. It's a beach towel, not a kitchen towel, not a dog towel. It's a beach towel. And when we get the vibe that like these are the keywords that are now coming in, we should see because like I said, she's got great pictures. She's got good SEO. Like we should start to see the clicks coming in for this product because it's not a super competitive keyword that she's in anyway. And then from there, that's when we would be more willing to be like, okay, now open us up a little bit to these inspirational keywords and less into these direct. So this is why I believe that Etsy ads is important. You can get scaling. You can scale your business on it. You can pay for traffic. You can get a machine that you can give it money, and in returns, it gives you money back. Where Etsy ads don't work is when you aren't, how do I say this? If your product is, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to say it. Like if you don't make a lot of money on your product, that's a good way to say it. So like it takes a long time for your product to sell. Maybe you sell 1 or 2 and then you make like a couple bucks off of it type thing. Like it's going to be hard to scale something like that. When you have a product that's working and it's scaling and you want to broaden what you're doing, Etsy ads is the tool to broaden. You have the ability to deepen your store. Software, Marmalade and Sales Samurai and all those guys, eRank, they're great for going deep. And I think Sales Samurai is the best for going deep. When it comes to, and then I just think it's natural for us to say, how can we do this? What else can we provide? Because you guys have your fingers on the pulse for these ones. And so you're feeling it. You're getting people to ask you questions. You kind of know like this, oh yeah, people want this, people want that. So you start adding that into your listings. But broaden, that's where we make our mistakes. And Etsy ad is an enormous tool that we use for broadening your stuff. So my hope is Black Friday, I'll have something for you ad-wise that can be really helpful for you to get this going. I think a lot of people, when I meet with a lot of people, they say, I used to run ads and I turned them off. And I used to run ads and I turned them off. And with everyone, I say, turn them back on. We're going to work together. We're going to get this going for you. Turn it back on. And so I'm going to take the techniques that I'm currently working with people, what I've seen do really well. And I think I'm not going to brag here, but between being a growth marketer who's literally overpaid traffic, swinging that into the fact that from my coaching, I think I'm probably the only person who really takes ads head on the way I do. I feel like I'm pretty good authority in this, and when it comes to Etsy ads. So I'm gonna have a lot of my stuff in that Black Friday. Hopefully, I keep saying it like this because I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it done, but hopefully. Okay, guys. Till next week. See ya.